nonprofit and faith community focused, but we're really expanding it and making it any community issue, any community agenda item folks want to talk about, just for open discussion. So thank you all for being here with us this afternoon. We have a pretty packed agenda, so I'm going to move through these things somewhat quickly, but also in allowing hopefully a little bit of time at the end for dialogue. So with that said, we are going to start with our back to school events, and I believe Amity, Michelle, are you on the call?
Yes. Hey. Hi, everyone.
Hey, if,
Hi.
go ahead and kick it over to you to talk about y'all's event next weekend.
Yes. So we have a big event next weekend, August 23rd from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. There will be free vaccinations from the health department. My organization will be providing free sports physicals and health screenings. And then Charlotte Community Health Clinic will be providing free dental screenings. And Atrium will also have their mobile OBGYN bus there. There will also be free school supplies, hygiene kits, kind of a bunch of different giveaways, and then over 20 plus community vendors. So just kind of wanted, it's coming up. I've spoken about it before on this meeting, but just kind of wanted to throw it back out there to everyone. And all of this information is on our website. The only thing that requires appointments are vaccinations, but it's not the end of the world if that does not happen. So yeah, just wanted to kind of talk about it again, let you guys know it's coming up. If you guys wanted to share it with the people that you guys work with.
Thanks so much, Michelle. Greatly appreciated. We have another one that evening. I don't see Pastor Matt on the call with us yet, but on the same day, except in the evening on Saturday, August 23rd, Edifi Church. So for those of you who are not familiar, Edifi is based out of the CMS school on the Eastland campus. So they're going to do a back to school event that evening for the members of the school community. So they're going to be collecting donations. They're going to do a movie night, The Greatest Showman. Should be a fun community event, and they're welcoming everybody, not just members of the school, to attend. We have another one, and I'm not sure if the representative from Mill Valley is here. I'm looking. If you are, please speak up and correct me. And to be honest, until today, I was unaware of this neighborhood. So Mill Valley is the homeowners association. It is a small neighborhood within Grove Park. So for those of you who don't know Grove Park, it is to the east of W.T. Harris, right south of Plaza Road Extension. So they are doing an event, back to school drive, but it's open to the community, 11 to 1, and that is this weekend. That is this Saturday. So a lot, all the back to school things are going on, right? Which is excellent. There's going to be a major one on, and I just found out about this a minute ago. There's going to be a pretty massive one on Sunday at the Movement School parking lot. So it's from 4 to 6:30 on Sunday, and they're going to be having an auto show, bounce houses, free haircuts for kids, face painting, food trucks, and I'll make sure that I send that information. But it's being hosted at the Casa Viva Church, which is they use the Movement School to do their services on Sundays. All right, that is all of our back to school items. I think I saw Nancy jump on the call. Nancy, are you with us? You are.
Yes, correct. Thank you. From just some updates on the Latin American Coalition, we are currently recruiting some mentors for our Ganas program. Our Ganas is a mentorship program that focuses on motivation for our multilingual students. And so we'll be working this fall semester at our offices as an after-school program for where we work directly with students and their parents as well, and then also at Garinger High School with ninth graders. And we're assisting them in that transition into high school and starting to plan for their futures. And we rely a lot on on mentors to be life navigators, share some tips and tricks of what worked along your journey, to share that with our students. We are a 5-hour commitment. And if you're interested, I'm more than happy to share the additional details on how to volunteer, and as well as a save the date from the coalition that we will be having our Latin American Festival. This cultural event will be occurring at the Valentine's Backyard on September 20th.
Nancy, I'm really interested in learning more about the Ghana's program. Could you send any literature or explanation that you have on that so I can distribute it to folks?
Yeah, I will. Thank you, Greg. I will send that over after today's meeting.
Yeah, thank you. And we can also do a separate outreach and request for support. How many volunteers did you say or mentors are you really looking for?
So we will be working with a total of about 40 students this fall semester. We always try to aim to about two students per mentor. So at the moment, our goal is 20 mentors. We are open to more mentors, and if we have any interest, it will be in school hours during working hours. So sometimes we have rely on professionals who have more flexibility, and also we offer it as an after-school program on Thursdays evenings at 6 p.m.
That's wonderful. I'm really excited that y'all were able to get into. I know you were working in Garinger last year, but there were some barriers. So I'm really glad that you guys are in
Yeah.
with leadership now at the top of the year, and hopefully that'll be a more fruitful partnership for y'all. That just makes me very excited. I'm glad to hear that.
No, thank you. We're excited to return this semester at Garinger and kicking it off this fall semester and working particularly with ninth graders.
Which is much needed, much needed, much needed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for.
All right, so I promised everybody I would give a brief update on Eastland. I know I think the last update I gave was a few months ago, but I'm going to be brief. This is the site plan. The site plan has not changed in a year and a half, but you can see my cursor. So these units right here, these are the senior affordable units that were not advertised for members specifically of the East Charlotte community, but they are full. My understanding is that these are full now, 75 income restricted for 55 and up. What you're seeing being built is these two massive buildings. So these are they're going to be roughly 275 residential market rate apartments. So between 80 and 120% of the area median income. And the base floor of these will have 16,000 square foot of commercial. There will be 2 restaurants, and 2 to 3 other retail spots. The city is picking those. They are hand picking those, and will be subsidizing the rent for those for those businesses for a 10-year period. They will be announcing the first list of people who've gone through this application process next month. We don't know who those are going to be. But all of these apartments in the commercial should be ready by the end of Q4 this year, the beginning of Q1 next year. And then in the back, what you're seeing being built are the roughly 175 single family and townhomes that are starting in the high $400,000 range. So you have a true mixed income development with the senior restricted rentals for ownership, high 400s, and then market rate rental. So that's what you're seeing right now, and I want to give some timelines for some of the other pieces. So the park and the sports complex. So the park, and we've gone over this before, but this is what the site plan is going to look like. So there's going to be the small the small outdoor amphitheater for very small local level shows, concerts, events. The whole site is only 4.5 acres. You have the splash pad in the middle with the Eastland Sun, multi-use courts, multi-sports field, some walking trails, playground. There's going to be some nice public art. So the groundbreaking for this will be the end of October. Everything is out to bid, and they're anticipating opening in the spring of 2027. But everything is on schedule. Everything is good. Everything is on schedule. And we're excited to have the groundbreaking in a little bit over 2 months. Part of the delay, and I'll let you guys know what this one, for just sake of transparency, was There were some issues with the design of the bathroom. So here's some more renderings you can see. Now this is just the park. This is just the 4.5 acre park. So you can see the splash pad, the amphitheater, the walking path, the courts. There was some issues with the accessibility and the design of the bathroom that kind of pushed things back a little bit, but everything is good to go now. Any questions about the park? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Jenkins.
It's just real quick. Do you feel comfortable that there, or do you know, is there representation for people who have submitted bids
So
that said that there is, well, I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit hole. Does it seem like that there is representation across all ways, especially for people, businesses that may be in the east side in this area? Thank you.
Very good question. I know they just went out to bid 2 weeks ago. I do not know what that feedback or what that interest level has looked like. I do know that the county tries to do a very good job, I will say, of ensuring that there is representation in those bids. There might be somebody on this call who might be able to answer that with a little bit more detail. I don't know. Carolyn, is that something that you can speak to, like kind of that RFQ process, or should we just direct them to Katie?
I'd direct them to Katie because that's a question that they haven't really been real detail oriented on to us. So I would direct that straight to Katie.
Okay. Joanne, that's a really good question. I'll make sure that after the call that I give you Katie Lloyd, who's the project manager for this, her direct line. She's been, because I would like to know that as well. She's been really great navigating this process for the community and making sure community voice has been at the forefront of design, but access for the local businesses and firms to be able to bid on this is critical. Because I don't know, and I will tell you this, and it's probably going to come out, I don't know when, it's taken a while to come out, but there has been a major kind of snafu and fiasco. I don't want to say fiasco because it hasn't become a fiasco yet, but Joanne, to that point about who's getting the bids, be on the lookout for some stories coming out in the next few weeks to months about how the bidding process has gone for Bank of America Stadium renovations. Because the folks who were promised essentially bids, it's kind of what was expected is a lot different from what seems to have been taken course here, in that some of the major bids were given to firms outside of North Carolina to do a lot of that preliminary work. So thank you for asking that question. On the next piece is, the piece that Charlotte East was very heavily involved in, and we still are going to be very heavily involved in, is the most eastern 30 acres. This is the sports complex. So up here, this is the 12, so all of this is the remaining 30 acres, right? So, and think, I'll give you the map again. Where I'm looking at on the rendering is right here. So you can see the sports complex, the soccer fields. We're on Central where it merges into Albemarle, and Wallora Lake is right here in the background. So the sports complex is on schedule to ground break by November, both the indoor and the outdoor components. So again, we have the 100,000 square foot sports complex that is going to be the primary partner on this is Edge Sports. They are a firm out of Boston that has done 15 of these across the country. They are affiliates of the Dallas Cowboys. So they do have the capital, the experience, and the success rates of all of their existing facilities are in the black. And the local partners on this are Miss Carlenia Ivory, Robert Bolton, and Mr. Robert Canty. And to that exact question, the other question that you're talking about bidding, Joanne, I will say that there has been an intentional opportunity opened up for local, primarily it's open to anybody, but they've been very specific about targeting the opportunity for investment to local minority investors who would like to take advantage of the investments in this project. So what we're looking at right here for the timeline of this opening up is going to be late 27, early 28. I feel like I'm putting the city on blast a little bit too much today, but I think in this case it's merited. Part of the delay with what we're seeing with the groundbreaking on this has been the city attorney's office. The Ed Sports team has had their ducks in a row. They've had their legal pieces in a row, and have simply been waiting on the city attorney's office, who has been dragging this out for about 4 months now. So they're costing the team quite a bit of money and costing the timeline to go a little bit slower than I think everybody has expected. And this was something Councilmember Graham did bring up at the committee meeting last week, is the need for more urgency on this. So guys, we're a little bit over 2 years out from this. I mean, the funding is secured, the funding is there. This isn't going to be one of those rug pull situations again. Everything is proceeding well with the exception of the attorney timeline on the city side, but we do have really 2 years to prepare for all phases of this development coming on board late 27. That was a lot of information. I'll make sure that I share this with you all, but are there any brief questions that I can answer about this before we move on? Alrighty, I do not hear any.
I have a question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Gibson.
Hi, hi everyone. I'd like to go back to the apartments that were built. What are the median ranges of income of each level of the apartment complex?
So for the seniors, it was, I had this earlier today. I believe it was between 60 and 80% AMI. I don't know. I see Representative Lopez is on the call too. Hey, Representative Lopez. I don't know if you remember that AMI range for that one. Mr. Gibson, I can get you that information though too. But right now, my understanding is that they're completely at capacity, and the market rate apartments are between 80 and 120% area median income. And I can get you the numbers that actually the actual dollar amounts for income that equate with those percentages.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you. All right, one fun thing that I did want to share with you all that we've been doing over the past 2 weeks now is Eastland Mall celebrated its 50th anniversary. What was it? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago from today, actually. And in recognition of this, and to prepare our small business ecosystem for what is coming in terms of this development and the economic impact, we are creating a Greater Eastland Business District for the 656 small businesses, commercial storefronts that are in the Eastland area. And we are launching, we're in the middle of a very fun initiative called 50 Years of Eastland. So the concept is we've identified 50 different activities for folks to do on the East Side from now until September 17th. How it works is folks go to the website, they see the activities, they upload pictures of themselves doing the activities, and the people who do the most activities win gift cards to support local businesses, right? So you can see, for example, you can, in a day, go take a walk in Evergreen Nature Preserve, go to Vizard to get a coffee in the morning, and then go back to Send Me for dinner, go to any of these locations. You get points, and then those points turn into money back to you, to those small businesses. So the idea is to pump as much money and promotion around our current small business ecosystem as possible. We do understand that commercial displacement is one of the top things on the mind of many of our small business owners. Like I said, we've been canvassing all of these businesses since April, all 656, and the number one concern for them has been the rising cost of commercial leases for their ability to stay in business. And these are the mom and pops, the folks that have been legacy business on the East Side for some time. So we're trying to figure out, ways to continue to support them as Eastland gets developed, and once Eastland is here, to ensure that the 1 million site visitors we're getting per year spend their dollars in these existing businesses. Which is it's a tough task, y'all. I know some of y'all who have been either, it's been on the Charlotte Observer, it's been on different news outlets. We're kind of in a bloodbath for restaurants right now. I think in the past 2 or 3 weeks, there have been a number of very high profile businesses across the city, be it in Uptown, Plaza Midwood, NODA that have shuttered their doors. I think the one most near to us was Maddie's Diner on Plaza at Shamrock. But in our footprint, here's what I will say is that in the Eastland area, we have had at this point 12 businesses open, small businesses open this year, and we've only lost 3. So the numbers are looking okay for us. I mean, businesses are doing well, but they still need support. So I will share more about this initiative on a follow-up email, but there's 1 month remaining to participate, to take part of this. We've already had about 1,100 entries so far, which is phenomenal, and we're trying to push as much traffic to these places as possible.
Greg, I don't know if you saw or not, but Jordan put a message in the.
I did not. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm not able to find my bar. What did he say? Can you read it to me, Benicia?
Yeah, he says he wasn't able to unmute himself, but the Evoke apartments are reserved for 55-plus-year-old residents who earn between 30 and 80% of AMI. About 14 are reserved explicitly for people earning less than 60% of the AMI.
Thank you, Representative Lopez. Thank you. So, Mr. Gibson, there's your answer right there. That's a great answer. So, 30 to 80 with 14 reserved for less than 60. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. I am going to talk briefly about the District 5 primary that is coming up. In the need for participation and individuals to vote. Charlotte East is a 501c3, meaning we cannot endorse candidates. We are a nonpartisan organization. However, we can promote information about civic literacy, get out the vote initiatives, and really trying to encourage our community to participate in the civic process. So, last Thursday, we held a District 5 candidate forum between the incumbent Marjorie Molina and Juan Diego JD Maswera Arias. We had it at SMS Catering. Thank you for those of you who were able to attend. We ended up with roughly 175 individuals, which was it was a great turnout. It was a great event. I want to thank the co-sponsoring organizations and neighbors for helping us draft questions. Had catering from Send Me Noodle House. We had raffles. I had fun. I had fun kind of emceeing it. Our moderator was Sharika Comfort from Educated Hoodlums, and it was a good time. But one thing that I brought up in this meeting before the candidates began their statements was that in the 2023 primary, citywide, there was roughly 4.9% of eligible voters in Mecklenburg County voted. 4.9% in 2023 in the primary. District 5 actually did a little bit better at 6.6%, which is still abysmal, but it was slightly above the citywide average. Local elections, and I can go on a soapbox about this until the sun goes down, but they are absolutely critical. I know I'm preaching to the choir with a lot of folks on here who I know are plugged in and engaged and take part of this work and do their own get out the vote efforts, but this is absolutely critical for us to ensure that these dates are circled and highlighted, because all of these will happen before we meet again. So early voting begins next Thursday, August 21st. The early voting schedule is kind of weird, and I'll share it with you all in the follow-up, but the first week of early voting up until, I think it's like, and correct me, I know JD, you know these on the top of your head, but up until I think the week of September 1st, the only early voting site is at Hal Marshall.
That's right.
Whoa.
And then the only early voting site from September 2nd to September 6th, which is only 4 days, for the Eastside will be Independence Regional Library.
which is a departure from how things have been done in the past. I know Eastway Regional Rec has traditionally always been an early voting site that a lot of Eastsiders use. I use that myself when I do early voting. So thank you, JD, and thank you for joining us. And I have to say, you've been joining us on these calls for a few months now, and it's great to have you here. Thank you. So I will get that early voting information out, but again, the first week and a half is just Hell Marshall. The primary is September 9th. And tomorrow, as a matter of, nope, Friday, I'm giving fake news. Friday is the last day to check your voter registration status, to change it, or to register to vote before this, you can vote in this election. So I'm going to be very, very, very imploring of all of you to please check your voter registration statuses, and I'll send the link, but this QR code also goes directly to the link. I've heard of individuals personally who I know who've been dropped from the rolls, who, were not aware that they'd been dropped from the rolls because they hadn't voted in a few cycles. So it's just best due diligence to check your registration status. Yes, Representative Lopez.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Just wanted a bit of context behind the early voting sites, and this is somewhat anecdotal, somewhat, literal. And I will try to track down some data on this over the next couple of weeks to make a more, what's the word I'm looking for, well-supported case. But, and not to be too partisan here, there was a change in power of who at the state level controls our state board of elections, which also subsequently affected which party controls every county board of elections. And I think you will hear official justifications kind of predicated on costs around operating early voting centers, but what is more likely to be the case, and we will, I guess, see this more robustly in the general election during early voting there, is it's likely just a clamp down on on where voting sites will be, how accessible voting sites will be. And so just something to keep in the back of your minds as we kind of move forward through this time, is there is a real attack on who has access to the ballot box. And I think that has more of the actual reasoning behind why there's so few, less than the cost associated with it. But just wanted to throw that out there.
No, thank you for that context. You being up there, I think that's very helpful to hear from that directly, and it makes sense. So I'll make sure that we get this scheduled to you all in the follow up to this. Any questions about the process? I don't believe there are any more. JD, I know you can speak to that. Are there any? Thank you, Helen. Thank you. So Helen put in the chat, check your voter registration status, and shared the link. JD, are there any other public opportunities to hear from both candidates in one location anymore, or is it just one-off events?
There's some events. So tonight there is Collective Vote that's hosted by the Freedom Center. It is from 6 to 8. And then you'll have next weekend the Democratic Woman event as well at Caldwell Presbyterian Church. That's from 6 to 8. So there's going to be some opportunities there. I think those are the latest 2 public events that I know of.
Thank you. And y'all, for those of you who were not able to attend our forum, I do have the recording link of it. Thank you, Mr. Maswera, for sending that video. That we do have the full dialogue, the full recording of what was said throughout the night. I think Yanira asked, where can we find the details for tonight's event? If somebody can put that link
I'll send
in the
it.
chat. Thank you. While we move forward.
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Gibson, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, JD again. My question is, I live in City Center, St. Andrew Homes, and I'd like to know, will St. Andrew Homes and the other senior centers in East Charlotte be protected from gentrification?
So, Mr. Gibson, I'll make sure that you get Mr. Maswera's email, because I want to make sure that we move forward and not make this an open open forum for candidates. While I do appreciate Mr. Misware for you being here, I want to make sure that you two get directly connected. And Mr. Gibson, I will say as well, with you said you're in St. Andrews, correct?
Right, that's correct.
So you are also in District 1, I believe. So you are also under, so your primary race is between Mayor Pro Tem Dante Anderson and Charlene Henderson. But I think the question is still
I
valid.
apologize.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Thank you for the question, but I want to make sure that we get you guys connected directly. So
Yeah, and real quick, Greg, I'm sorry. I just wanted to quickly say it was also really great meeting you, Mr. Gibson, last night at the housing forum. So thanks for being there.
Thanks for having me.
thank you both. Thank you both. So is Miss Martinez on the call?
You want to do our midweek check-in? And I said, I'm traveling. I've told people I'm already visiting my family.
Yeah, folks, be muted. Is Deanna Martinez with us? I know she wanted to give some updates about the Charlotte Nondiscrimination Ordinance. I guess she is not, but I did see Pastor Matt that you joined us. I want to go back to your section for a minute if you want to talk a little bit more about what Edifi is doing next Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everybody. Glad to be on the call. For whatever reason, I thought it was 3:30, so that's my fault.
No problem.
I'm not getting much sleep. I got a newborn in the house, so that's my fault for overlooking. But yeah, on Saturday the 23rd, we're actually doing a movie night at Charlotte East Language Academy. We'll be showing The Greatest Showman. We're gonna have free concessions, and we're just gonna have it's kind of like a back to school drive. We're partnering with Charlotte East Language Academy with the movie night. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So if you guys are available, it's completely free. We just need you to come and spend some time with us, and if you can, bring a donation, school supplies, color pencils, notebook paper, composition books, anything that a student would ultimately need for school. Bring it out. We'd love to have you. Thanks, Greg.
Wonderful. No, thank you. Thank y'all for putting this on.
I make a statement possible.
Yes, Mr. Gibson, go ahead.
Okay, this is in reference to Mo Green.
Oh, Mr. Gibson, for the open forum, we're gonna wait until after the end of the session. Okay, we got to get through the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. I did want to bring this back to everyone. So I did say that we were going to have a standing agenda item going forward about food insecurity because it is such a large need in our community where 32.3% of individuals who are 32.3% of the residents in our community are receiving food and nutrition services. And then given the changes at the federal level with cuts to SNAP and programs that will be taking in effect as early as 2027, we discussed at our last meeting a need to be more organized and collected around the food insecurity space, with the concept being potentially holding a food insecurity or a food summit at Galilee sometime in the spring. What I did say I was going to do last meeting was put together a comprehensive list of the houses of faith, the other food pantries, the schools, the places that are offering support for food insecurity. And what I have not done is got a lot of feedback from individuals, which is fine because I know a lot of the places that are serving. But I wanted to share this again today before we get that really detailed, comprehensive list of all the places in our community. We've gone over this before, and I think it was John who lifted this up again last week. But foodhelpline.org, also known as Lemon Tree, is a free online directory that tells you where you need to go depending on what your need is for food. If it's and you can see this is the map for all of Charlotte, so providers can go ahead and add themselves to the registry. They also take some from the database that they already have working with, like county officials. You can see on our little section of the Eastside, we do have quite a few folks that offer support with food. let me just go ahead and click on you guys at Galilee because I have, I think, 3 of you all on the call right now. But you can see how it's set up. They give how much time is needed to wait, what is the schedule, what is the offering. And I don't know, is Lydia on here, Joanne? I don't know if they have Lydia's on here. I think they just have Nourish Up. It's interesting.
It's thank you for pointing that out. We'll add it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the goal for us on our end, on Charlotte East end, is to use this really as a base for what we put on our own Greater Eastland asset map. And I did say I would have that ready by this meeting. I do not have that ready by this meeting, but it will be ready by the next. Promise y'all that. Taking a lot of this data and putting it onto our own, and also trying to fill in the gaps. You know, I know Representative Lopez is on the call. I know we keep calling on you, but I do have to point this out that he is on the call this week. Representative Lopez did try to, no, he didn't try, he filed for an amendment to the state budget that would have allocated significant more capital and state resources to Nourish Up as part of the state budget. That amendment was denied. But I know this is something that he is incredibly passionate about for our community, and that we've talked about being very intentional about how we explore efforts, collaborative community efforts to address both what exists right now and what's ahead. Jordan, I don't know if you want to add anything else.
I can add just a bit, and I don't want to go off on a tangent here, so I'll try to keep it concise. But yes, the amendment for Nourish Up did fail. It was seeking to really fill the gap that they lost funding for from the USDA earlier this year, and 500,000 is really only a fraction of what the amount of funding that they actually lost from the federal government. But I felt 500,000, considering how the budget process works in Raleigh, was as reasonable a number that I could ask for to just do some support of their work. But kind of two different lanes that I'm going to approach the work moving forward, especially, you know, should you all reelect me in a couple of years, is the work of nothing Mecklenburg County specific will really fly at that building. And I think that's a reality that needs to be addressed and stated clearly until it's understood, is that Mecklenburg County is kind of persona non grata in Raleigh. And so a goal that I have, and I've met with a representative from Gaston County just the other week, last week actually, at a food hub here, and we were talking about purchasing programs for like the state providing funding for organizations like Nourish Up, Fresh List, which already received some support from the state, to purchase food from regional and local farmers to then redistribute that back out and at low to no cost to residents across the community. And really that program being, you know, replicated across the state. He at least, and this is a member of the majority, expressed interest in supporting that kind of work and working with me to figure that out. I mean, he took the trip all the way up to Charlotte from Gaston County to tour a food hub because he has a deep interest in it. So I don't want to doubt his sincerity, but I also have to say, you know, I only really believe what I'll see at this point when it comes to that building. But there is a lot of movement happening behind the scenes, or I don't want to say behind the scenes, but just kind of amongst the rank and file in the General Assembly to really address food insecurity. Unfortunately, it hasn't risen to the level of leadership yet to be a primary priority at the moment, but we're going to keep kind of pushing it because 1 in 6. So, I mean, think outside of, 30,000 people in District 112 get served by Nourish Up, which is a large part of the East Charlotte area. That's almost a third of the people that I represent here. So food insecurity is not only huge for East Charlotte and our house district, but 1 in 6 North Carolinians face food insecurity. So it's a statewide problem. But there unfortunately isn't much of a statewide solution that's been found yet, or at least that has found consistent and recurring support, especially speaking through the budget. So that's just a brief and small update on kind of where that is. Yes, the budget did not go the way we hoped it would, and I don't foresee it going that way when we get a final one, but we're going to keep kind of pushing that to be a broader conversation at the state level, and hopefully a bipartisan one too. So
Thank you so much for your work on this, for making sure that this is a top priority. Because I think, you know, it doesn't take much to see the writing on the wall for the future, because we see what we're dealing with right now. So one thing I'm going to ask of this group again is, if you have your entity, your organization, be it a nonprofit, a church, you know, a small pantry in a school, please let us know about that resource so we can at least inventory it to have a more holistic representation of what exists and map it. Because I'm going to tell you an idea that I'm having is, and I think I lifted this last meeting, can we take some capital to create little free libraries / little free pantries in some of these dead zones that don't have walkable access to some of these facilities? I think it was Reverend Amelia last week last meeting who indicated that they did have some of those on their property, but it wasn't inventoried in the little free pantry inventory. So we want to do our best to ensure that we're identifying those gaps. And if that means working with the 15 neighborhoods that we have in this footprint, plus the apartment complexes, to provide some kind of an apparatus that can be managed by the neighborhood in the neighborhood for a quick grab and go if people need food, that's what we'll do. But I would also, love to continue pushing and working toward an event in the spring at Galilee. I know Joanne and Emily, y'all have a busy fall to get through first, so we'll get through October for y'all before we start having that conversation. But we actually are, y'all, almost at time. But with that said, I would like to give you a minute, either Joanne or Emily. I don't know who else was on the call from Galilee, but if you wanted to briefly mention the October event.
That's Emily.
Where's Emily? I think did Emily drop? Emily might have dropped off. So that was my bad.
Okay, that's Joanne. So Galilee is going into its 10th year, and our theme is the power of 10. And on Friday, October 10th month, 10th day at 10 o'clock, say that quickly, we are inviting you all to come to a launching celebration, a reception of a year of our history. And I think we'll take a lot of pictures and load them up on the 50-year, there's such intersectionality of Eastland. Yeah. So that's what it is. It's the beginning of our second decade of work in the community.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And Emily will be look out for all of the publicity and everything that's going to be coming out regarding that. But 10th month, 10th day, it happens to be a Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wonderful.
Y'all come.
We'll be there. We'll be there. We are at time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry we didn't have much time for open forum today. If you do have another item you would like to have shared to the distribution list, please send me an email by the end of today. And I'm going to try to tee that up to go out tomorrow afternoon. So thank you all so much for your attendance, and have a wonderful rest of your day.